Back in '96, Atlanta was booming with excitement around hosting the Centennial Olympic Games. And then, a deranged zealot, willing to kill for a cause, lit a fuse that would change my life and so many others forever, rippling out for generations. Listen to Flashpoint on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Guys, we are back. We are so excited. It is season 2 of your favorite New Girl Rewatch podcast. We have got a new season. We got a new name. We've got some of your favorite people from the New Girl universe. We've got the creator and showrunner, Liz Merriweather. We got the Max Greenfield, Olivia Munn.
We also have some of your least favorites, like Jake Johnson.
Lamorne.
Hannah, what's up?
We do have Jake Johnson, though.
Yeah. Listen to The Mess Around on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
For 10 years, I've been obsessed with one of the most bizarre and audacious cons in rock and roll history.
We were all facing 20 years and all that good stuff.
The lead singer tried to pull off an English accent, and they went on the road as the Zombies.
These guys are not going to get away with it. The Zombies are too popular.
Listen to the true story of the fake zombies on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Let's Be Clear with Shannen Doherty.
Hello, Let's Be Clear family. This is Lorraine, Shannen's producer. I can tell you that your love and support meant so much to her, and she looked forward to connecting with you each week. In this episode, we wanted to share some heartfelt messages and comforting words from people she worked with throughout the years. Also, the Let's Be Clear team invites you to send in your message for Shannen for a special fan tribute episode. Please call 1-844-4SHANDO. That's 1-844-474-2636. We will include as many messages as we can. And thank you again. This one's for you, Shan.
Holly Marie Combs starred as Shannen's sister on Charmed, but their real-life friendship began years before that. Holly describes their unbreakable bond and Shannen's unwavering support throughout the years.
I've tried for days to put my thoughts in order, and my mind is just racing, and I think trying to hang on to the memories. But this is probably one of the hardest things I'm ever going to have to do. And I think every step forward kind of makes it a little bit more real. And I can also hear her over here going, make it good. Better make it good. I think Shannen would be really pleasantly surprised by the outpouring of love and emotion that has come from so many different people and places, because she really did often feel like the underdog and vilified, and that she had to prove herself in so many different ways. I think she'd be really surprised and shocked by how many people have reached out and said really beautiful things about her. Apparently, she even texted some of my ex-boyfriends, which I'll have a conversation with her about that another day. But yeah, no, that was uncalled for. But literally all of her exes, except for one who should say nothing, because nothing he can ever say will ever make anything better, have said beautiful words. And so many people are really torn up emotionally still. And it's just a testament to who she was as a person, as opposed to what you read or saw in a tabloid. And I can definitely say I'm at the anger part. I'm at the stage of grief that is making me angry. And I keep looking online like I'm looking to pick a fight. And I'm looking for anything that anybody says negatively so that I can correct them. And I'm really not finding any. I'm angry and I'm sad. She doesn't get to see the places that she wanted to. And I'm angry and sad that once again, I've lost, that person that you can call in the middle of the night to cancer. I've lost another friend to cancer. And it's really hard when you lose someone who should have and really wanted to live a long and full life, not just for herself, but for other people in her family. When I went through tough times in my life, some really horrible stuff. And one day I showed up on her doorstep and I didn't know how bad I looked physically until I saw it on her face. And I saw her face change and I knew I must have been pretty beat up. And to her credit, she never shied away. She never took a step back. And if something was wrong, she went full in to help me fix it. And I think that's because she had seen so much pain and trauma in her own life that she didn't want to see anybody else go through it. And whether it was me or my kids, she was literally always a phone call away. So it's hard. I spent all day yesterday looking for one picture that I cannot find. And I'm sure this amuses her. And I found a bunch of other pictures from 20, 30 years ago. And, for one split second, I saw one that I was like, oh, I should send this to her. Because it's so unbelievable that even knowing she was sick, we just thought we had more time. And she definitely did think she had more time. So I guess for me, that's the lesson, is that you think you have time, but you don't. And not many people could do what Shannen did in one day. She was just like a tornado of energy. But I think that's the thing I'm going to take away from all of this is you think you have time. And so, she would give me an awful hard time that I don't say I love you enough to anyone. It's not on a personal basis, but to anyone in general. And so I would say for Shannen, tell the people that you love them and live like there is no tomorrow, because that's what she did. And okay, have a nice day.
He was a Beverly Hills 90210 fan since his days working at a convenience store in New Jersey. As an aspiring director, he could never have imagined he would one day cast Brenda Walsh in one of his first films, Mallrats. Kevin Smith remembers his dear friend, who he affectionately nicknamed Dodo.
When I was in my early 20s and I was working at this little convenience store in New Jersey called Quick Stop, we had no cable TV. The internet was still years away. So I started bringing in TV with rabbit ears. I was there by myself most of the day. So I bring in TV, plug it in, and have rabbit ear antennas so you can turn the dial and watch like 4 channels maybe came in. One of them came in very well was Fox. So I watched 90210 from the beginning, man. And there I'd be working at nights at Quick Stop, and I would have it on. I would also tape it at the same time because sometimes you get busy helping customers. And so I didn't want to miss anything. If I did, I'd be able to roll it back. Again, we didn't have any streaming services or anything like that at this point. So I remember my I think it was Thursday nights, maybe Wednesday nights, sitting at Quick Stop, watching the little girl from Heather's, in her own show. I'd seen Shannen, saw Shannen in Night Shift, Ron Howard's Night Shift, where she was like, Mugger. So I knew who she was. And of course, we all loved Heather's. So when, 90210 kicked off, it's like, oh, that's the Heather's girl. And to say that show was a pop cultural phenomenon is a complete understatement. It broke the internet before the internet even existed. But I would watch, Brenda's adventures, with Dylan, Kelly, Brandon, and Donna. And then one day I made a movie, and they were like, great, now you get to make another movie. And when I was making that second movie, before I even made it, a friend of mine was like, you should get Shannen Doherty from Mallrats. And I was like, oh my God, I hadn't thought of that. Like, really? You think she'd do it? I mean, she just left 90210. And my friend Malcolm's like, she'll totally do it, man. She's an icon. She's an American icon. So they said way back in 1995, 94, before we even started shooting in 95. And so I told Shannen when I was on her podcast, when I was on sBeClear, that, when I went to work on Mallrats, when we went to Minnesota to shoot the movie, it was almost as if, the business, Hollywood, whatever, I'd arrived with my first movie, but here I was about to make my second movie, first with a studio, first with a real budget. And the first person from the industry to meet me over this bridge that I crossed, thanks to making Clerks, the first person in the business, a professional, who was there to welcome me was Shannen. And I always found that wonderful and bittersweet and ironic that I spent so many nights watching her on this little television, grainy TV. And then I saw her in all her glory in real life, no grain whatsoever. I had a crush on her then. I'll always have a crush on her. She was a force of nature. She was a wonderful Renee in Mallrats. And I'm so lucky that I got to work with her. I mean, let's be honest. I was lucky to have known her at all. I love you, Shan. See you at the mall one day.
He played Brenda Walsh's father, Jim Walsh, on Beverly Hills 90210. He appeared with Shannen in 111 episodes and remembers her warmth on the set. James Eckhouse.
Hi, James Eckhouse. I played Shannen's dad on 90210. One of many worlds Shannen brought her effervescent spirit to, had huge influence upon. My heart aches for Shannen's family, and friends, and fans. You were a ferocious spirit, Shannen. You were ferocious in your work, your talent. You were ferocious in your love. You were ferocious in your courageous battle with cancer. I really loved working with you, both as actor and director. Yeah, you always brought all of your heart to every scene. And when I brought my young kids to the set, I'm forever grateful to you for being so welcoming, so kind. They never forgot that. We honor you and we treasure you. You will be sorely missed.
It started with a backpack at the 1996 Centennial Olympic Games. A backpack that contained a bomb. While the authorities focused on the wrong suspect, a serial bomber planned his next attacks. 2 abortion clinics and a lesbian bar. But this isn't his story. It's a human story. One that I've become entangled with.
I saw, as soon as I turned the corner, basically someone bleeding out.
The victims of these brutal attacks were left to pick up the pieces, forced to explore the gray areas between right and wrong, life and death. Their once ordinary lives, and mine, changed forever.
It kind of gave me a feeling of pending doom.
And all the while, our country found itself facing down a long and ugly reckoning with a growing threat. Far-right, homegrown, religious terrorism. Listen to Flashpoint on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, Bowen, the Olympics are underway. It's useless to talk about it as a thing that's happening in the future when it's happening in the present.
It's happening now. And what's happening now is our podcast, Two Guys, Five Rings, is a phenomenon. And while real medals are being handed out in Paris, we're giving out our fake medals here.
Two Guys, Five Rings. Matt Bowen and the Olympics.
Who are we watching this Olympic Games?
I mean, I'm watching Simone Biles. I'm watching her go higher and higher and higher with every bounce. Sha'Carri's about to run faster than you or I or anyone has ever seen.
I'm rooting for the girls and the boys and everybody under the Seine River.
Under the Seine, over the Seine, within the waters of the Seine, all of them. Follow the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform, and watch and listen to every moment of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games now through August 11th on NBC and Peacock, and for the first time ever on the iHeartRadio app.
Babe.
Yeah, babe.
Do you think they can hear us?
Yeah, those are mics.
Guys, we are back. We are so excited. It is season 2 of your favorite New Girl Rewatch podcast. We have got a new season, we got a new name, and we got a brand new episode every week starting July 2nd.
Yeah, I am so excited for you folks to check out this mess around. When I say it's going to get weird, I mean, it's going to get
Just
weird.
okay, save it for the show.
Okay, that's probably for the best.
We have got some of your favorite people from the New Girl universe. We've got the creator and showrunner, Liz Merriweather. We got the Max Greenfield, Olivia Munn.
We also have some of your least favorites, like Jake Johnson.
Lamorne.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're listing off your favorites, like, he's still a favorite. He just, Hannah, what's up?
We do have Jake Johnson, though.
Yeah. Listen to the mess around on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
He played Leo on 145 episodes of Charmed. He remembers how supportive Shannen was from his very first day on the set and how warm she was as a friend ever since.
Hello, all you Let's Be Clear podcast listeners, fans of Shannen Doherty. Incredible, amazing Shannen Doherty. This is Brian Krause from Charmed, Leo. I just wanted to share a quick moment about Shannen and how we met and when we met and how she's changed my life. I had mentioned before on our podcast about myself getting on the show, I had met Shannen before, out of the club and this is of Los Angeles and all that was in the 90s. And so when I got on the show of Charmed, I was really nervous to show up and perform in front of her. I knew the stakes were raised, that, I had heard rumors and blah, blah, blah. And I got on, I knew my lines, I did my thing. And she just looked over at me and she kind of gave a little wink and a good job. And, to get her approval that I had performed well and done well, and it meant everything. And then when I was told I was going to be a regular on the show, it was actually Shannen who had said to me, because when you had powers on Charmed, you usually were a bad guy and you died. And she took me aside and she said, "No, you're a good guy and you're going to stick around and you just keep doing what you're doing and you'll be around for a while." And it was her way of saying, good job, keep showing up and keep kicking ass and kind of joining me, opening her wings and allowing me to be a part of her family. And I was so honored by it that Charmed had this, let's kick some ass and make really good entertainment. And that was all Shannen at the helm and setting the standard of what professionalism was. And I'll never forget it. And I've been so lucky the last few years to have gotten to know her as we've done Comic-Cons and this podcast. and to know Shannen as a human and her enduring spirit of anything is possible. And if I could say anything to the Let's Be Clear fans, Shannen really believed anything was possible with hard work, determination, a vision. Let's go get it. And I don't think I ever heard her say, I don't know how, or, oh, what if, or it can't. It wasn't part of her vocabulary. It was, oh, we've run into a wall. Okay, let's fix this. Let's get this done. Let's do this. No, let's take action. And I think anything I could pass on that rubbed off on me that meant so much was her work ethic and desire to do what she wanted to do and live fearlessly. And I'm going to take that with me and try and do it every day. I love Shannen so much, and I wish I got a chance to tell her that. She's an amazing, amazing human being. And I want to thank you all that listen to our podcast or watch Charmed and followed Shannen that may have crossed over to us, because any piece of that was just a byproduct of being a fan of hers. I'm sure made you a fan of ours. And I just feel really lucky that I was able to be a part of it. I'm forever grateful for our friendship.
He played her nephew, Chris Halliwell, on Charmed and was one of her co-hosts on her latest project, the House of Halliwell podcast. Drew Fuller.
Hey, this is Drew Fuller, Shannen's friend and co-host on the House of Halliwell. And in honor of her, let's be very clear. Shannen was a warrior. She faced adversity head on with everything that she got and refused to be a victim. She lived her life with so much passion, with love, and a fearlessness that I will strive daily to replicate. She's inspired millions of people. She's inspired me, and I will love her forever. And I hope each and every one of you listening will honor her spirit by living the way she lived.
He played Inspector Daryl Morris in 78 episodes of Charmed. Shannen won him over from his first day on the set. Dorian Gregory.
When I'm gone, remember me with a smile and the laughter and the joy that we shared together. And that way, it will live forever. Sentiments, I couldn't say it or express it the way Shannen does, but I was impacted by that. First day on set, I heard this amazing laughter. I looked around the corner and it was Holly and Shannen sharing a moment. It was such genuine, real laughter. I walked over. First days are often awkward. And she welcomed me warmly. And it meant a lot. I come from a house of strong women, determined, accomplished, and sharp as sharp can be. That was Shannen. My father passed from cancer, and my woman's mother passed from cancer a long time, so I have a little idea of what happens on the day-to-day. I say this because I remember Shannen a year ago in our autograph signing. It's the last time I actually was there physically around her. And her wit and her warmth and her energy and her strength, just as strong as ever. And her generosity and care for her fans of making them feel individual and heard and important, as she always has in every convention that I've been with her at, every time I've been in her presence, sharp as ever. A week ago, we did a podcast, and Shannen, sharp as ever, and sharing her years of experience in this business, and the ins and outs and the ups and downs, and her artistic perfectionism. It was so wonderful to hear her and her excitement about life. So I remember forever. You've impacted many, and with love, I remember.
Shannen Doherty appeared in 8 episodes of the 2008 90210 reboot. In that short time, she made an immense impact on actress Shanae Grimes. She remembers how Shannen took her under her wing and taught her to embrace her own strength.
I owe more to Shannen than I'm sure she ever knew, than most people know. Oh my gosh. My voice is already shaking. If it weren't for Shannen, I would not be who I am in so many more ways than one. I had the good fortune of being cast on the spin-off series of 90210 in 2008, playing the character Annie Wilson, who was part of the brother-sister duo that moved from a small town to Beverly Hills. And the only reason why that happened is because Shannen Doherty created one of the most iconic characters ever to be on television, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that one. Obviously, Mr. Aaron Spelling created that series, but it was the cast, and namely Shannen Doherty, who created the character that we all fell in love with. And it is because of her and the 90210 cast that my show ever existed. And I had the incredible fortune of stepping into a tiny version of her shoes and hopefully follow in her footsteps in a way that made Shannen proud, because Shannen was so warm and so lovely and so fiercely strong and unapologetic. And she is the type of woman that I have always aspired to be. And it was watching her do it despite everything that she was met with, and continue to forge ahead, being true to who she was, that gave me the confidence to do the same, no matter how much resistance I've been met with throughout my life because of that. And I've said it before, there's really not been much of a blueprint for how to be a strong, unapologetically strong woman in a world and society that is so determined to tell you not to. But she did it. She did it. And she, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the very few that is the blueprint. It's women like Shannen Doherty that give the rest of us permission and confidence to demand what we deserve, stand up for ourselves, and not take any shit. And I hope I'm allowed to say that, but I think Shannen would be okay with it. In my short time of getting the job on 90210 and starting to film and being a part of the tabloid fodder and media craze that was at that time, it was only a little while into that process and that experience that I met Shannen and had the privilege to actually work with her, portraying the character of Brenda alongside me on 90210. And at that point, already in just a short window of time, I had been so mentally broken down by the experience. You know, I was 18 when I moved out to LA to take on the job. I was by myself, left my family back home, really didn't know anybody other than my cast. And the behind the scenes drama that Beverly Hills 90210 was known for definitely was recreated behind the scenes of our spinoff of 90210 as well. And I think Shannen and I, not having ever spoken about it, but I think a lot of our experiences, or the experiences I had, mirrored a lot of the experiences that she had. Meeting her that day in the trailer, I was so excited because she was my favorite character from the original show. I had watched it with my mom growing up, so I was a super fan of her already. And I think, you know, brown hair, like she was the gorgeous brunette from the show. So I felt most like tied to her. And I was so nervous meeting her. And she literally just like welcomed me into her trailer with the biggest smile and the warmest hug. And it was like, I don't even know if she meant to communicate this with her hug, but it made me feel so seen and like I was not alone in everything that I was experiencing at that time, because it was a lot. It was a lot for an 18, 19-year-old girl to go through, and getting that hug from her and knowing that she experienced so much times a million when she was my age, like, was everything to me, because all I saw with this was this beautiful, strong woman who was so resilient, who had made it out of that experience still with her chin held high, fire in her belly, and being true to who she was. And to me, that was Shannen Doherty. So, you know, it's no surprise to me that she went on to fight this very long battle as fiercely as she did. And I, I'm gutted that I never had the opportunity to get back in touch with her. I tried to kind of connect through people, but, I was so young when we met and our paths literally never crossed again. Otherwise, having made it through that experience, learning everything that I did, fighting so hard to maintain that Shannen energy that existed within me, and that she gave me the confidence to hold on to despite it all. I would have loved to, just share this with her. But I didn't get that opportunity. And it's truly such an honor to be able to share these words with the listener of her podcast, which I know was a really important passion project for her. And I know that the fans listening to this love Shannen as much and as deeply as I do. And I know that her memory will live on for a very, very long time as the blueprint, the queen of the badasses that give us all permission and confidence to be who we are, to demand respect, and to never settle for anything less than what we deserve. So I am eternally grateful to her, and I'm sure she's listening somewhere. And I hope that the message comes through loud and clear. Just thank you. Thank you, Shannen Doherty, for genuinely, on so many levels, making me the woman that I am today.
It started with a backpack at the 1996 Centennial Olympic Games, a backpack that contained a bomb. While the authorities focused on the wrong suspect, a serial bomber planned his next attacks: 2 abortion clinics and a lesbian bar. But this isn't his story. It's a human story, one that I've become entangled with.
I saw, as soon as I turned the corner, basically someone bleeding out.
The victims of these brutal attacks were left to pick up the pieces, forced to explore the gray areas between right and wrong, life and death. Their once ordinary lives, and mine, changed forever.
It kind of gave me a feeling of pending doom.
And all the while, our country found itself facing down a long and ugly reckoning with a growing threat: far-right, homegrown, religious terrorism. Listen to Flashpoint on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, Bowen, the Olympics are underway. It's useless to talk about it as a thing that's happening in the future when it's happening in the present.
It's happening now. And what's happening now is our podcast, 2 Guys, 5 Rings, is a phenomenon. And while real medals are being handed out in Paris, we're giving out our fake medals here.
2 Guys, 5 Rings. Matt Bowen and the Olympics.
Who are we watching this Olympic Games?
I mean, I'm watching Simone Biles. I'm watching her go higher and higher and higher with every bounce. Sha'Carri's about to run faster than you or I or anyone has ever seen.
I'm rooting for the girls and the boys and everybody under the Seine River.
Under the Seine, over the Seine, within the waters of the Seine, all of them. Follow the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform, and watch and listen to every moment of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games now through August 11th on NBC and Peacock, and for the first time ever on the iHeartRadio app.
Babe.
Yeah, babe.
Do you think they can hear us?
Yeah, those are mics.
Guys, we are back. We are so excited. It is season 2 of your favorite New Girl Rewatch podcast. We have got a new season, we got a new name, and we got a brand new episode every week starting July 2nd.
Yeah, I am so excited for you folks to check out this mess around. When I say it's going to get weird, I mean it's going to get
Just
weird.
save it for the show.
Okay, that's probably for the best.
We have got some of your favorite people from the New Girl universe. We've got the creator and showrunner, Liz Merriweather. We got the Max Greenfield, Olivia Munn.
We also have some of your least favorites, like Jake Johnson.
Lamorne.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're listing off your favorites, like, he's still a favorite. He just, Hannah, what's up?
We do have Jake Johnson, though.
Yeah. Listen to the mess around on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
He starred with Shannen on Little House on the Prairie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dean Butler. I played Almanzo Wilder on the NBC series Little House on the Prairie. I worked with Shannen Doherty 40 years ago when Shannen joined the cast of Little House to play the role of Jenny Wilder, my niece, on the series. When we met Shannen for the first time at the beginning of season 9 of Little House, she made a very strong impression. And that impression, there were a couple of things. One, she was talented. There was no doubt that Shannen had a gift. And the other thing that you couldn't miss about Shannen is that Shannen was determined to make something of herself in the entertainment industry. She had one of the most powerful motors in that area that I've ever seen in all the years that I've been around our industry. Shannen left us way too soon. But not unlike someone else that she and I both worked with on Little House, Michael Landon, who died at the age of 54 from pancreatic cancer, Shannen fit a lot of life into her 53 years, and she will be remembered for it. As we celebrate 50 years of Little House on the Prairie this year, it's very important to me that people know and remember that Shannen was a part, and a special part, of Little House on the Prairie, one of the great family dramas in the history of television. It was early in her career, but she'll be remembered for the work that she did with us and the work she did with so many other people in so many other shows and projects for years to come. I send my most heartfelt condolences to Shannen's family and friends and fans all over the world who are thinking a lot about her right now. Shannen will be remembered. She'd want it that way.
Tori Spelling's younger brother, Randy, was still a child when he first met Shannen Doherty. He was struck by her beauty and personality, and that admiration continued throughout his life. Randy Spelling.
Ever since I saw that smile on Little House on the Prairie, it just lit up the screen. And Shannen lit up the screen, every screen that she was on. She lit up a room, every room that she was in. She just had this energy about her, and she was small and she was slight, but she just had such a big presence and energy that you could feel. Tough at times, soft and sweet at times. We had some beautiful exchanges over Instagram before we got a chance to reconnect when she was on our podcast, Oldish. And that was really a thrill for me. I was shocked because just a few months ago, there was so much life in her. I just did not see this coming so soon. Yeah, I just have the best memories of her with my sister Tori coming over to the house, and I watched my first Madonna concert on TV with them, and I think they were both wearing white V-necks at the time. Shannen used to love white V-necks. When I think of Shannen, I always think of a white V-neck and that smile. Shannen, you will be so missed. You will always be my first legitimate crush, and I know you were greeted by so many loved ones. Thank you for being you and for being so committed to that which you believed in and showing that to the world. No matter what it was, you had this incredible commitment and tenacity and drive and passion to go after what it is that you believed in.
He played Andrea Zuckerman's husband, Jesse, on Beverly Hills 90210. Mark Damon Espinoza tells us what he'll always remember about Shannen Doherty.
I know how hard it is to watch people you love fight so hard against such a formidable opponent. You know, Shannen gave it hell and fought with the spirit she's known for, and frankly will be remembered for. She'll continue to inspire a lot of others to fight as well. So know that I send my best to all of you right now at this difficult time. Our paths didn't cross nearly as much as I wish they had. You know, we only ever shared a handful of scenes. Our storylines were always going in different directions, and I'm really sorry we didn't have more opportunities to actually work together on screen. She was a terrific actress. However, when we did pass on the set at the studio, wherever we were, you know, makeup, trailer, or wardrobe, or whatever, she was always really, really nice to me. And at the time, it would have been very easy for me to be intimidated. You know, I was working with some of, if not the most famous young people on the planet at that time. They didn't have to be nice. Shannen was, however, and I'll always remember that. One quick anecdote. It was years after 90210, and she was shooting something at the gym where I was working out. I'm not sure. I think it was a TV movie or something like that. And I was a mess. I was just coming from a run, and I was sweaty. But she saw me from a good distance away and stopped production, came over to me, gave me this huge hug, and wanted to know how I was doing. And she didn't let me go until I told her. I mean, not everyone would hug a sweaty guy at the gym after they've been in hair and makeup and have a crew waiting. But that's a Shannen I'll keep in my heart, you know. That's the one I'll remember for the rest of my own life. You know, none of us are immortal, and our time is far too short. Hers was far, far too short. But her energy, her fight, her spirit, that'll live on. That'll live on.
He appeared in 3 episodes of Beverly Hills 90210, but it was later in life that he was able to experience Shannen's warmth. David Lasher.
Hi, it's David Lasher. I just wanted to share my sadness and my memories about Shannen. You know, I always admired her for being such a strong woman. She knew exactly what her voice was. She didn't pander to anybody. And when I did those 90210 episodes, I became closer with Jenny and Tori. My scenes weren't with Shannen, and she was a tough nut to crack, to be honest. She was guarded. But then we became friendly when she married my friend Ashley Hamilton. It was a brief marriage, but I spent a lot of time at her house, and I stood up at their wedding with only a few people, and then I really got to know her. And she had this soft side to her that I think a lot of people didn't know. And she was a beautiful soul. And to see such a strong person have to fight the fight that she went through was so heartbreaking. And I really thought she was winning. And I'm just so sad and heartbroken. And I love her soul, and I hope she's at peace.
Back in '96, Atlanta was booming with excitement around hosting the Centennial Olympic Games. And then, a deranged zealot, willing to kill for a cause, lit a fuse that would change my life and so many others forever, rippling out for generations. Listen to Flashpoint on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Guys, Guys, we are back. We are so excited. It is season 2 of your favorite New Girl Rewatch podcast. We have got a new season. We got a new name. We have got some of your favorite people from the New Girl universe. We've got the creator and showrunner, Liz Merriweather. We got the Max Greenfield, Olivia Munn.
We also have some of your least favorites, like Jake Johnson.
Lamorne.
Hannah, what's up?
We do have Jake Johnson, though.
Yeah. Listen to The Mess Around on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
For 10 years, I've been obsessed with one of the most bizarre and audacious cons in rock and roll history.
We were all facing 20 years and all that good stuff.
The lead singer tried to pull off an English accent, and they went on the road as the Zombies.
These guys are not going to get away with it. The Zombies are too popular.
Listen to the true story of the fake zombies on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.